right, recording is on. Oh my God, we're live again. So welcome back, everybody. We had a little snafu. We started recording, and then my camera started freaking out, and then we had to stop the recording, and now my camera's shot. But we're talking again. So anyway, sir, who are you, and what are we talking about today?
We are talking about kind of my observation and my experience in Jeremy's Discord. And my name is Jesse, and a lot of people know me as JARCH on various Discord servers. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
It's Jeremy Lefebvre. So I've heard about him a little bit, but can you kind of explain what he does? Like, what is this channel all about? Is he an index fund investor, crypto guy? What does Jeremy
he's
do?
a brilliant Wall Street analyst that has crazy good returns on individual stocks. No,
no. If somebody watches my channel, they know who Jeremy Lefebvre is.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, he has a YouTube channel that goes over. I think it's called Financial Education, right? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. However many channels he has. But pretty much just a YouTube channel that goes over different stocks, fairly surface level, very, very surface level. Yeah, and then he runs a Discord and has different packages that you can pay to get into his Discord. And I don't know if he's still doing it, but he was doing private coaching for a while. Not actually him, but coaches that he like contracted out, I think, other investors.
Okay, so you were a member in Jeremy's Discord, coaching, whatever. Before we get into that, can you kind of explain more about like what your investing past is and how you ran into Jeremy in the first place?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been a pretty heavy index investor for 10 plus years now. Started in probably 2012 is when I started putting a lot, I would say a more significant portion of my income. Was able to save more and really focused on tax efficiencies and just like overall market index investing. Did that for, well, I'm still doing that, but did that for those 8 years, hit that really hard. And then I think I joined Jeremy's Discord in late 2020. So when the market was going crazy, liquidity was nuts. We had GME and all these like hype stocks. The Fed was not printing money, but being very accommodative. And yeah, so things were just going crazy. Tesla was running like insane. Personally, why I kind of was interested in this group was more for the coaching. Just because I've always been interested, like heavily interested in investing. This is why I got into index investing so early on, in my like late teens, early 20s. And then, so I was really interested in index investing, and that kind of bled over into valuation, individual stock investing eventually. So my kind of reasoning for getting in was more focused on like what I would potentially get out of the coaching that they had. Yeah, so I ended up getting, believe it or not, it's not as bad as some, but I got like a lifetime Discord membership and 8 coaching calls for the very affordable price of $3,500.
Woo, dog it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Actually, compared to what other people, have at least been quoted, because I know I called his organization and they quoted me different. There were different tiers that they quoted me, and it was
I think
up to
they started at
$20,000.
like, they started trying to sell me on like, I think it was 7,500 or something like that for that package. I was like, no way, that's ridiculous. And I just kind of kept on being like I can do this, I think at this level, like because I kind of viewed the coaching calls as like, I should have, it wasn't worth it at all, but I viewed the coaching calls kind of like a like what I would be paying like a tutor or something, right? Somebody with a decent amount of financial knowledge, hopefully, that could like do 1 hour sessions with me. So, but even then, that's like drastically overpaying, right? So yeah, I got taken a bit.
But it's like, what was it about Jeremy specifically that made you say, okay, this is the guy that I want to pay $3,500 to coach me or to provide me with coaches? What was the trigger point that made you do it?
I don't know. I think it was recency bias of like looking at his successful recent picks and being like, okay, he's got to know something, you know? Like you can't just be that lucky, I guess, but apparently you can.
Oh yes, you can.
So and I had always been like a pretty big fan of Tesla. So even back in 2012, 2013, I was digging into Tesla quite a bit, more a fan of the tech than anything else. But I also knew that like and it was a big if they actually accomplished what they were looking at, from an investment standpoint, like it was super high risk. I mean, they were on the verge of bankruptcy like multiple times, but if it panned out, it would probably pan out well. So it was probably a little bit of that hindsight, like, oh man, I like missed that train and I was like kind of right. And, but right for all the wrong reasons, you know what I mean? Like more lucky than right. So I think it's a little bit of that. And I got to a point in my overall investing where I was just like, you know what, like, don't get me wrong, $3,000 is a lot of money, right? But relatively, it wasn't that much. So,
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, your life hasn't been absolutely destroyed. I mean, and if you've been investing since 2011, 2012, you said,
yeah,
you probably have a pretty significant amount in index funds. Now, did you keep most of your money in index funds when you joined the Discord, or did you kind of like say, hey, I'm going to sell a lot of these and start buying individual stocks?
I kept my individual stock allocation to 5 to 10%, and that was very, very, very like gradual in my accumulation of individual stocks. And the majority of individual stocks I bought were not a lot of what he was, I guess, pumping. Not pumping, but they weren't his. They weren't his small cap speculative ones. I did get sucked in to buy a couple of those here and there, more as like short-term trades. And then I cut them really quick. And it was a very, very like relative percentage-wise to the portfolio, very small amount, like very small amount. So
good stuff. You're in VT,
yeah.
right? Or are you in VTI?
VTI, man. I got my reasoning. We can discuss that later if you want.
Oh, no. We're all about Jeremy tonight. I always got to know who I'm talking to, a U.S. shill or a total world shill.
No, but anyway. Not U.S. man.
Yeah. So, okay. So you decide to pay Lefebvre, right? Or one of his minions, whoever you called. And now you're a member. What's the first thing that happened? So did you get like an onboarding call? What was the first impression of the Discord?
Yeah, pretty much. Like they kind of give you this onboarding process of like verifying that you are a valid like member and paid and all that type of stuff. And then if I recall correctly, I mean, it was like 2 years ago, right? So there was probably some initial like videos showing the Discord layout, stuff like that. And then links to like content library of I guess Jeremy's probably older videos that are kind of like valuation based and talk about like different stocks and stuff like that. So you got like a rundown of just like the lay of the land. And and then if you purchase coaching, you could you basically filled out a form and they were trying to gauge like what you're trying to get out of the coaching, and then they would match you based on that.
Okay, so I mean, was Jeremy your coach, or did he have like a host of us? Okay, so he had a bunch of contracts.
I don't think. Yeah. I mean, they were all people that were quote unquote like coaches on the Discord and did private coaching for people, but it was basically just all contractors, from what I could tell. And they were community members, and they did interact a little bit on the Discord here and there. And yeah, some of them I would say was probably better than others. I don't know, because I only worked with one of them. But yeah, he had, I would say, probably close to 8 coaches, maybe. I don't know, something like that.
So was it some kind of upsell? Like, so you got access to the Discord, you paid for coaching. Were there like additional things thrown at you after you joined? Where it's like, hey, if you want, this additional thing, you have to pay a little bit more.
No, man, they got me good on the first go round.
There's no way we can take any more money from this guy.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, no. No, they got me good on the first go round. I think it depends on the plan you get. Like, I could have, if I wanted to, I could have probably purchased like additional coaching sessions if I wanted to continue on after the first like 8 coaching sessions I got. But yeah, for what I got on the initial purchase, like there was pretty much nothing else for me to buy, other than the time that they spun off. They spun off part of, like, one of the coaches made his own, or Jeremy helped him make a Discord or something like that, and then they made a short and medium term Discord, and then that was an additional, like, I think it was like 1,500 a year.
Yeah, I actually know exactly who you're talking about. I got a lot of dirt on that one, but we don't have to talk about it now. So explain more about like how the Discord is structured. Like, is it a bunch of like, different rooms for individual stocks, for coaches? Kind of like, how's it?
I mean, it's a little bit of both. I think they got like individual stocks that like Jeremy's in, and then they have some like community stocks that people like to talk about. They've got some like random chats, some market chats, stock chats, maybe political chats. I'm not sure, but yeah. And then like I think Jeremy has his like kind of his section where he'll post stuff, and people can kind of see what he's doing. So
was Jeremy pretty active in the Discord?
I would say that would depend on the time. Like, there was a time where he wasn't very active, I'd say, and then lately, at least lately, like the last couple months, he's gotten a little bit more active. But
trying to keep his people in there,
Yeah. So
when he was active, at least, I mean, like, have you noticed a change in his behavior? Like the stocks that he's picking. Like, to describe the Jeremy that you saw when you first joined versus the Jeremy that you saw right before you left.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Jeremy that I saw when I joined was very focused on like highly speculative, like high amounts of risk, really small cap companies. While like just kind of riding the stuff that he had accumulated over the last like maybe 2 years. So like, he's just like riding Tesla, riding some of the previous picks that he had, but then kind of going way far out on the risk curve to look for these new, like, I don't know, 10x, whatever you want to call them, right? Like highly speculative, high risk, maybe high return stocks.
I mean, anything could be high return,
Yeah, I mean, like,
potentially.
Yeah, anything can happen. So, but yeah, the Discord was structured pretty much where a lot of people had their stocks that they were in, and that may have overlapped with Jeremy's stocks. So they had Discord channels there. And they would, just talk about those stocks. Usually nothing too deep, like it's usually pre-surface level. It was usually like what type of news was released type thing. It wasn't a lot of like digging into valuations or risks or anything like that. And a lot of people that did focus on that stuff, like just didn't get listened to, and eventually would get fed up and leave. So you kind of created this environment where you had a lot of people that were new trying to come in and learn, and then the people that knew anything were leaving. So just the knowledge level of the group and the value, I would say, that was provided to the group just like was constantly like degrading more and more and more.
Okay, so Jeremy in the beginning wasn't as active. He's obviously getting more active now, probably because he needs to be. The coaches, like I said, depended on the coaches. And, as time went on, basically, so if you're signing up now, you're probably getting a lot more people that are just shills for certain stocks. Would that be an accurate description?
Yeah.
Somebody that looks at, like,
I would say so,
fundamentals.
Yeah, and he's kind of pitched the like, oh well, I want to focus more on bear theses, and like all the people that I'm in connection with are like, dude, we were telling you this like for how long? Like we were posting like, hey, here are all the risks. Here's the bearish scenarios for this company. Like this is why TTCF could go to 4 or 5 or then I reran an analysis and I was like, okay, actually based on my like analysis, TTCF might be a buy it too. And I got crap for that, man. like people don't like to hear it. And I was trying to present it in a way where I wasn't like abrasive or like being like, hey, your stocks suck, but like, hey, these are seriously valid risks. And you look at the evaluation and like stuff just doesn't line up, guys. Like this could get bad. And I don't know. I think I did help some people, but yeah, eventually it was just time to go.
I totally understand. So one of my suspicions, like, so I'm looking at Jeremy's group and I'm like, okay, he's saying, oh, we're not giving financial advice and blah, 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 blah. But in my opinion, it's like, okay, people are paying to get into the group so they could basically, in my opinion, get stock picks. At least that's kind of how I see it. Did you see a trend where a lot of the people in the group were buying the same stocks as Jeremy? Would that be accurate or no?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. And like I said, like it was split at times, right? There were the people that like really wanted to learn and like were almost going out on their own, even still being part of the community, and we're learning like DCFs and valuation models and like looking at like portfolio allocation and risk management and stuff like that, and like taking it seriously. And then there were the people that were just like, oh my gosh, like, you know, X stock to the moon, and we're kind of clinging to whatever he was doing, which of course like everybody's gonna say, hey, don't follow me, and then you post like, you know, hey, I bought 50K worth of X stock or something like that. Like, I don't know. And that was the other thing that like bothered me. I was like, dude, don't show anybody your numbers. Nobody needs to see your numbers. Just show your allocation. Like, who cares about numbers? Like, it gives this false sense of perception that like he might have more confidence in XYZ stock than another one. But
yeah, so I've also noticed that Jeremy, you know, he always seems to be all in every single stock that he's talking about on his channel. Did you see any kind of like, did he talk about any kind of risk mitigation? Like, oh, you should keep a stock to this percentage of your portfolio. Was that really discussed or emphasized at all?
So in his like courseware section, he went over kind of like his thoughts on asset allocation, and keeping stocks to X percentage and stuff like that. And then that's basically the only time I heard it. So,
I mean, do you think a lot of people in the groups were going like all in certain stocks, or like what was kind of your sense of the whole community?
I think there were definitely a decent amount of people that were kind of taking on way too much risk, going in heavier than they should have on certain stocks, and quote unquote buying the dip because it's cheaper, right? Like if you loved it at 15, you'll love it at 50 cents.
I mean, it went down, so you know, it can't go down anymore.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And you know, it was just a really, really, really bad mentality to have. Obviously, I mean, you look at index investing, like, yeah, you can DCA into that, right? The index, like whatever index you're in, even if it's like a more risky index, passive index, of course, like that index is going to be buying and selling for you no matter what. Like your job is just accumulate the index and DCA in. Individual stock events investing, like you have to be making all those buy sell decisions. And like they were like, it seemed like they were so focused on buying and just like long-term investing, so buy more, that even when the fundamentals of companies changed and new risks were introduced, like they ignored them or didn't see them, or were just so stuck on this being the next big thing that they just kept on going.
Yeah, I've noticed that, no matter what happens, people just keep buying and buying and buying. Even if the fundamentals change, it's like, oh, just keep buying the stock. It'll work itself out. That's especially what I've noticed about Jeremy is it's like, well, it doesn't matter if this everything's collapsing in this company because in 5 years it's going to be 10x.
Yeah.
So,
and like to give an example of how bad it actually got is that people were actually discussing buying more Voyager when Voyager was basically just guaranteed for bankruptcy and liquidation.
Oh my God.
So yeah.
Was Jeremy part of that discussion or was it just some people in the Discord?
No, just some people in Discord, but it gives you the mentality of kind of the overall group, right? Like it was not healthy. So
yeah. So did you notice like any weird activity going on? Like one thing I'm always suspicious of these large YouTubers is that, they have so much influence and they have such a large Discord community or private community that they can potentially, buy into a stock, tell their Discord members about it before they make a YouTube video about it, and then that can potentially pump the stock. I'm not saying he's doing that. I'm asking you, did you notice any kind of behavior like that?
So this is just my speculation. But I'm not under the impression that he did it himself, but I think a lot of people were in that Discord for that. Like they were there to be able to know what he was doing ahead of time, to be able to front run whatever he was going to be talking about. And then if they were smart, they would like cash out after a week or two.
Did he post in the Discord, like before he made a video about X stock, would he tell his private members beforehand he was buying it?
Yeah, I mean, usually you would know because he would be posting like stuff in his section of what he was buying or selling. Usually, typically only buying. I don't know if there are very few things that he actually sold. So,
it's fishy. Yeah, I mean, like I don't think Jeremy, I mean, obviously I call him dumb all the time, but I don't think he would get to the point where he would so blatantly, pump and dump a stock.
I don't think he was. Like, I think there was a lot of stocks that he bought and they went up, 50% and he held, and then they went down 90%. Like, I personally believe that was more likely than him buying up a lot of these stocks and then dumping them. Just because I don't know, that's just my thinking from how I know how that group worked and stuff like that. And we've even seen glimpses in his, like, he'll randomly be like, oh, I lost X amount on this stock, and he'll show screenshots of his private portfolio. And I think one of those videos was on Voyager, right? And I think he lost like what 300-400K on Voyager.
Yeah, like 300 something.
Yeah, but he was up at probably 40-50% at one time on that, right? So yeah, I don't know.
Well, I have that meme where he's all about buy and never sell, and it's actually true. I mean, like, he just
I really believe that's true. I think and I think it's been a very big disservice to like anybody that's trying to learn from him, because like, especially with individual stocks, like if you're buying based off of fundamentals and valuation, and then valuation is stretched from fundamentals, you should be de-risking that position. Like,
I mean, did he talk about like, did he do any kind of discounted cash flows, or did he talk about anything other than, very basic statements about how the balance sheet is good? It was very surface level, basically.
No, there were people that posted DCFs in that group at various times, and he would be like, "Oh, that's interesting. I've never really done that."
I remember somebody sent me a screenshot of that. I was like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, I know, and that's I was like, "Man, really? Come on." So it was a pretty quick time frame between me getting in there and me realizing like, oh God, this is not too great. But you know what, like, the way I viewed it was, hey, you know what, my money's a sunk cost. Like, I got value out of the coaching because that was kind of tailored for me. So I was able to like really focus in on the things I wanted to focus in on. And the coach that I had was, I would say, like, decent. Like, I learned some stuff from him. fairly basic stuff, but still, like, I learned some stuff from him. But yeah, it got to the point where I was like, okay, well, it's a sunk cost. They're not going to give me a refund. I'm just going to try to provide some sanity to the group and do it in a way that I'm not going to get kicked. And hopefully maybe some people will, like, it will stick with some people. So
yeah. What a kind heart you had, because like how I act, I would just be roasting people.
I know.
Never get access. I'd probably be banned instantly.
Yeah.
So were you there? I remember Jeremy. There was this one time when Jeremy said he was under investigation by a serious organization. Were you in the group when that happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me everything you know about that whole incident.
I mean, I don't know much. I mean, I think he gave off the perception that he was a little bit concerned about, if the SEC was watching the group, which, yeah, like he should be. Random people, like, especially coaches, would like post something and be like, this is not financial advice. So like it was pretty obvious that they were pretty concerned that something might be happening.
Yeah, that's one of the risks, that all these groups face. And to me, like, I used to be a financial advisor very briefly, and it blew my mind. These people could have YouTube channels and talk about individual stocks and say they would 10x. Yeah. And then now we have these Discord groups where obviously financial advice is being given out. I mean, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah,
but
it's a hard line. Like it's something, it's hard to balance, because so after, like, let's see, beginning of 2022, I started a Discord and YouTube channel and just started posting a lot of my stuff there. Mostly just because I wanted an area to track like my thoughts and like my development. And then people eventually funneled into the Discord group, mostly people that I knew from other areas. But yeah, it's a fine line. And I've always kind of kept the philosophy that, like, it should be pretty theoretical. Like, just because one person is buying something doesn't mean another person, it's right for the other person to buy it, obviously. Like, there's so much that goes like into the reasoning, the fundamentals, the valuation, the time frame, the time horizon. So basically, like, what I've done in that Discord group has been try to just talk about things that aren't really going to get you in trouble, like valuation. Like, hey, how do we value a company? And you can talk for years on just that, right? Like, you can talk for years about risks on companies. And then a lot of the material that I'll bring into the Discord, where I'm like, hey, this is good material, I recommend it. A lot of it's open courseware from like college professors on investing, valuation, accounting, stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a fine line to draw, but in the end, there's going to be people that always are wanting to learn and stuff, but that doesn't have to be in a paid environment.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And especially when people are paying thousands of dollars, that's just out of control. So
you can get a degree for 10 grand, 12 grand if you really try hard and do it right. There's ways
you
to
can
do
get
that.
a degree for 3 grand. There's like Western Governors University.
I got my master's from them. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, so did I. That's cool,
dude. Hey, alumni.
I got my master's in accounting.
What's up, man?
Oh my God, we're fellow owls. That's a
dude. No, yeah. I got my master's there. My wife's getting her bachelor's there right now, and then my sister just got her master's there. Like, I'm a huge fan of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a sidetrack, obviously, but if y'all want a really cheap degree that's accredited, check out Western Governors University. But so circling back to the Jeremy Lefebvre. So we got to talk about what started to happen when the market started to go down. Did you see a sea change in attitudes in the Discord, or do you see people still worshiping Jeremy regardless of how bad he gets annihilated? Because that's one thing I don't understand, is how all his stocks can just be wrecked like they were, and then it seems like people are still in the Discord. Like, what's going on there?
Yeah. So let's paint the picture a little bit. So as far as the Discord and the membership in the Discord, I think the highest that I saw, it was probably between 3,500 to 4,000 members. So so that's kind of like I would say like the number that we can think about when we're looking at probably the peak hysteria of the market, of it just ripping. Um, and yeah, that brought in a lot of people. As things progressed, especially over the last year, at first it was a lot of like, hey, great opportunity, buy the dip, right? And that was kind of like the mindset, it seemed like a lot of people. And then it slowly got to like, why is this stuff still dipping when the overall market is? um and yeah, like I think man, I think like probably first 3-4 months of the year it was like that buy the dip mentality, and then in like probably 6 months to like the half of the year to now, it's kind of been like there's been a lot of people that have like pushed back, dropped off, gotten kicked, things like that. So, and I think when I left there, the membership was around like 1,800.
So do you okay? So do you so it sounds like it's been collapsing because going from 4,000, maybe
Yeah.
what, a year
Oh yeah.
ago to now 18, and I think it's been going down even more, hasn't it? Because he's been has he been actually blocking anybody that criticizes him? I heard that was going on in there.
Oh yeah, that went on for a long time. And not just recently, but basically like even when I first joined, or maybe a little bit after I first joined, like started 21, people, if they were criticizing like picks or like saying this is stupid or whatever, a lot of them would get blocked pretty quickly. So they tried to keep the demeanor of the group into a certain like positive, like reinforcing environment. They were just reinforcing the wrong thing, right? Those people that left were the people that probably should have been listened to the most, because they were actually doing the work, doing DCFs, doing valuations, like looking at real risks, and buying based off of like just fairly easy quantitative and qualitative analysis. So, but that was the members that got pushed out.
I mean, were people getting blocked for honest criticism? Because like how I criticize Jeremy, I call him like stupid or whatever. Obviously, that's like on one extreme. Were people just giving fair and honest criticism of his stocks and still getting banned? Or did it usually have to come where it crossed the line where they started insulting him?
I think there were times where they weren't maybe insulting him directly, but they'd be like, "This company is trash," and really just digging in, and they get booted. So I don't think it really necessarily he was being criticized at points, and he was kicking, or they were kicking people out that like kind of went against his viewpoints of certain companies. And then there were people that were just like, dude, this is so messed up, and it would just go off on him, and yeah, they're gonna get banned, right? But yeah, so I think it was a lot of people that got banned were probably pointing out valid criticisms of companies, and they would continuously do that and continuously get more and more frustrated by people not listening, and like people just ignoring their advice and being like, oh no, 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 and it would just flip bullish, and like nobody could have like a level-headed I guess bearish discussion, or not even bearish, but just like like pretty level-headed analysis discussion that wasn't overly bullish, without them being like, oh, you're such a bear, you're a short seller or something, right? And then yeah.
Oh yeah, because I heard the mentality in that group is, and it almost sounds like tinfoil hat kind of stuff. It's like, if you have any kind of bearish thoughts on the stock, you're a short seller, you're a hedgy, blah blah blah. It almost sounds like the AMC crowd. Is that in any way equivalent to what's going on?
Honestly, like I wouldn't say that's too much of a stretch. Right? I wouldn't say it's too much of a stretch in the fact that it's like it's, at least until I left, it seemed very repetitive of digging their heels in further and further and further and further, and just being unwilling to reevaluate, I guess, their decisions.
So were there people still buying the dip of Tattooed Chef?
Oh man, I don't know at that point.
We gotta talk.
I mean, it was like what, like it was $1.50 by that point, right? By the time I left a couple days or a week ago or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I think everybody like I think it was more of a realization that like a lot of the risks that I pointed out and others pointed out, they were real and they happened, and now they're in a horrible situation. So the tone changed for a bit from like, oh my gosh, like we're just gonna dig our heels in and continue buying, to like, oh yeah, we should really look at like cash flow and bottom line income and balance sheets and like cash burn runway. And like, so it was
Why
like,
would you want to do that, man?
Right. But yeah, but it could be difficult because when you're trying to like, a lot of times I would be posting pretty negative stuff, but I can be super like trashing the company or anything. So I'd have to just try to post it in a way that was just very logical and very like even keeled and just like unemotional. And like usually that was fine. I never got stuff removed. But yeah, I think I was more the exception than anything else.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't get banned, man. You know, you're
I kind of am too. Like I'm almost like pat myself on the back for not getting banned, especially with with how bearish I was on a lot of stuff. Like I was super bearish on it. Like when people were getting into SDC, I was like, guys, no. Like,
oh god.
And so like I was super bearish on SDC. I was super bearish on like Oatly. Honest, I was like very skeptical, bearish. Tattooed Chef, I was very bearish on. Like the one that I was like, oh man, I was more like interested in it and got into it even before Jeremy. Kicker, guess what it was?
Oh,
this was my learning lesson. Voyager.
Oh. Voyager. There we go. Crypto, bro.
Yep. Yeah, man. So
did you get out
yeah,
in time before it went to zero, basically?
Oh yeah. Okay, I did.
Good.
But like so I had played Voyager a little bit, made some money on it, and then lost a decent chunk on it, but like cut it. Like kind of it was some good practice for my preaching of being like, okay, risk totally changed, like outlook's totally changed, I'm out, like no more. So, and I want to did I cut it like 6ish or something like that? I can't remember, but yeah. So I mean, but like all things considered, like I said, like I was at least being fairly reasonable with my asset allocation and not going in too crazy on any individual stock. And then like when the tides changed, like I probably didn't take as quick of action as I needed to, or I should have. Like I could have been quicker, but I still took action. So
good stuff. So did you ever meet the man himself? Like, did you ever talk to him, FaceTime him?
No.
You know the real Jeremy.
I don't think so. No. Like I DM'd him here and there.
Would he get back to you?
But yeah. He got back to me a couple times. A lot of times when I DM'd him, I was being pretty critical. Being like, hey man, like you shouldn't have said this. Like people respect this guy, and you going off of on him like this is like not acceptable. I had one of those messages to him. So yeah, like I messaged him a couple times. Had a couple of like brief interactions with him, but yeah, nothing like a phone call or voice call or anything like that.
Yeah, because I thought there was an option where you could potentially meet Jeremy. Maybe I'm crazy. You probably pay way more for that, but I don't know if it's like going face to face with people.
You know, if you spend $2,700, you get a free ride on his jet.
Oh,
no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's a great business model right there. So here's another big question I have. Was I ever discussed in that Discord?
Oh man, yeah, they hate you.
Really?
Yeah, no, I think no, like you come up every once in a while.
Like, I've been criticized. I'm not that big of a YouTube channel. I'm just curious, like, oh, how much is Strongman mentioned in there?
Yeah, you've been mentioned several times. A couple people have posted your videos before. Yeah, I think a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, man, that guy's so like annoying," but like, definitely, you've been talked about for sure. And I think Jeremy's even talked about you a little bit. So pretty like at surface level, like, and what I found from just observing kind of Jeremy is that, like, as long as his name gets out there more, he doesn't care.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, it is advertising. I mean, it's very negative advertising, but I mean, I feel the same way. If somebody started ripping me and they had a huge YouTube channel, it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure.
So to bring it all around, do you think Jeremy's group will ever end? Like, have you taken the black pill? Do you think this group will always persist, and in the next bull market, it'll come right back to where it was before? Or do you think Jeremy's finished? Do you think he's done?
No, he's just taking a rest.
So he's coming back greater than ever in the next bull market.
I don't know if he's gonna ever like reach the size that he did before, because that was pretty unique circumstances, right? Like, he would have to probably get into another stock that's gonna like just rip and go crazy. But I think personally, what I think is going to happen, and we've already started seeing it, like he started talking about like, oh, I need to go back to my like blueprint or whatever, and like he's going to start buying profitable large caps, and he's already doing that. He's going to start actually going towards the other extreme of like not taking. Well, he's still going to be taking risk. I have a feeling he's going to be buying a lot of tech large caps and still overpaying for them. So,
of course.
And then, but it's going to be like survival mode, and he's got a big enough YouTube audience that he'll have people come in. That's not going to change, but it might change to where, instead of getting back up to like 3,000 subscribers, maybe he like moderates at like 700 or something like that. I don't know. I think, I mean, I hope he like people just go find free content that is much better, and they can get more value out of it. But a lot of that free content can be very dry and boring, and they don't like wear funny hats, and it can be actually like, taking a college class. So it's not going to get pushed too much.
Well, hey, if people promise you, or at least imply you're going to get a 10x, I mean, some people find that really hard to resist. So I can see the appeal of Jeremy if you're very new to individual stock investing. I can totally see it, but at a certain point, you have to wake up to it. It's really sad.
Oh yeah,
there's still people in that group that are, still buying his BS.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are no longer buying the BS, but the destruction's already happened. There's been people that have lost like large amounts of their retirement that I know of, and they're like at retirement, and it's just like,
oh my god,
it's
see, that's why I get pissed, because it's like, it's literally a disgusting crime that
it's horrible.
Do that to somebody,
and how you could be responsible, because at the end of the day, I don't care, Jeremy is responsible for that, right? Like he didn't make them like press the buy button, but he was a major part, if not the major part, on exposing those people to those stocks. And like, once they're exposed to that and they see that he's just continuing to buy the dip and go more and more and more in, it's easier to follow the leader and just go along with him. So it's super sad. super, super sad. And I don't wish that on anybody. I genuinely like, I hope like, I don't know. I hope I disagree a lot with like what Jeremy has done. I genuinely hope that he turns it around and does something that's actually good. I don't think it's gonna happen. So, but yeah,
I don't believe so either.
yeah,
You never know. Maybe Jeremy will turn a corner and finally, maybe preach index funds or something. Now that would be an amazing sea change.
oh man. He would be like, after decades of experience, I have found the secret sauce.
Oh, by the way, index funds. Have you heard of those?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But no, this has been great. Do you have any like last comments you want to give out, or you want to shout out your YouTube channel? Anything before we close it out?
Yeah. If anybody's interested, I have a YouTube channel that's extremely boring and dry, and I kind of use it for like journaling on like just looking into companies and doing evaluations. So that YouTube channel is called Stone Cold Investors, and I also have a Discord. If you want to join that, I think Strongman here is going to put that link in the description. That is also called Stone Cold Investors, and yeah, we're just trying to create an environment that's free. Has decent kind of even keeled people that are just not overly bearish or bullish, are focused on learning. Try to provide some free resources in there. There is a verification process, so give me some time to do that. But that's all I got.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate your insight. It's always fascinating to me to talk to somebody that's actually joined Jeremy's group. So I think a lot of people have been curious what's going on in there, and you've really shed some light. So we all appreciate it from the Strongman Ryu rabble.
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right, thanks for coming on. I'm going to cut off the recording, and you have a wonderful day.
All right, man.